Hey guys, this is K Trader, and well, sadly I couldn't record the movement to the upside where I took my positions, right? But basically, I'm going to try to explain you guys how to spot this kind of movements and how to know where the market is going. Okay, this is not something that I'm making up or anything like that. This is just pure knowledge from ICT. Some people can listen to these things even from him and they want to believe it. Why? Because people try to overcomplicate everything. So it is not as complicated as you guys think it is. Okay, so why did I know the market was coming up here? It's very simple, guys. The market is always moved in the 15 minutes chart. It usually takes the liquidity that is created in these sides of the market. Now, eh, when we when we say when I say that we rely on the 15-minute chart is because every time we go for the liquidity that looks perfect sided, that has equal highs or has equal lows. So usually this is what the market does. So in this case, if we look to the left, we didn't have anything from yesterday at all, right? But we had this liquidity here. Let me show you guys. We had this liquidity here that we just came and took it. So now some people can be faked to think that now we're going to reverse all the way down. Why? Because we already took this liquidity, right? But if you studied ICT, you will understand that every time we go for a liquidity and we sweep that liquidity, we will go even higher or lower depending on what's next to that liquidity. What does it mean? It means that in this case, if we check this liquidity here, that is from June 28th, we see that we have a fair value gap in here, right? And so, if we check this fair value gap, guys, we will understand just by only studying ICT, we will need to continue our way higher. Why? Because the movement to liquidate all the retail traders doesn't end here where they think it is going to end, right? We will just to continue going higher to this next liquidity here, right? But so next to this liquidity, what is there? A little bit of a void here, and then another fair value gap, and then more liquidity here. So we could maybe be ripping off through the skies after 10:20 a.m., right? So right now, all of this movement could be just as I said, a fake movement to make people think we are going to now reverse all the way down. And yes, we could have a little bit of reversal here until the opening, come back to this Asian range low, and get all the way back up, right? So, uh, why I say this? Because some people think we might not reverse all the way back up again, but according to the theory that I have, we might do it, right? So, uh, the important point here, what is the important point here? You see this candle, let me just erase this. Good. So this square that you see here is the opening range, okay? So this was the void that was created. So let me explain you something here. This is from yesterday, right? So we had all of this movement to the downside, and we had to come for this liquidity up here We had to do that yesterday, but we didn't do so. How? We came back up, and right before the market closes, we sweep the liquidity, right? Let me just change this. So right before we close, you see this little wick here and this liquidity with this red line. So we just sweep that liquidity, as you can see here, right? But what did we do after that? We started reversing all the way back down. And during the Asian range, we didn't go back up there, right? Why? Because this is how the institutions grab liquidity to then rip people off. So the theory is there. We had to go for this liquidity and we had to go through this other liquidity that is a fair value. Since we didn't do what we were supposed to do and we instead reversed a little bit of reversal here after this movement to the downside, and we uh, started to go down again, right? So just because of this fake movement to the downside, and just because of this failed uh, continuation to take what it is supposed to take, and during the night going down, that's the reason why today we are ripping higher, you know. So I know it sounds a little bit confused, but trust me, this is how the market works. It literally does nothing else than this. Okay, so right now you see these movements, people will think we will go lower, but it won't happen. If we will go lower, we will do it until 1020, right? And we will need to keep ripping off. If we want rip off and continue higher, if we don't do that yet, it means we will change the market direction to the downside. Okay, so that's what it means. So if you check this 15-minute chart, we've been in a lower trend right here, a little bit of retrace, just like right here, and we continue making a lower low just in here. You see, a lower low. We went back up again, we went down, and after this last movement to the downside, we immediately, not only, not only we went across this small consolidation that we was here and we closed above it, right? But also we stopped creating lower lows. As you can see here, this low is way higher than the other two lows, right? So, and just a as a consequence, we started ripping higher. Why? Because this is the another displacement we are going to make before ripping higher. So right now, if you see here, guys, this is a small consolidation where we could also enter in a consolidation here just to tomorrow start going higher, or maybe doing a retrace just back down to this position just here and continue going higher. For me, according to what I know, today we should be ripping higher. There's no excuse for that, right? So it has nothing to do up there, sorry, down there anymore, because we already made the job, right? So uh, why I don't take another trade? Because I'm done for the day. This is a real account, as you can see here, and I don't try to overcomplicate it, because yes, this is precise. Yes, I could have done more money, but if you want uh, to get somewhere, you will need to take it easy. You will need to take it slow, even though you know what is going to happen. Why? Because let's say, for instance, in this movement here, from yesterday at 3:45, and you think it is going to rip higher just because of the theory that I explained to you. Because one thing is the theory, and another thing is how they move these algos to take money from people. So, according to the theory that I just explained to you, that it doesn't come from it, comes from ICT. He says, and the theory is that if you have liquidity and next to that liquidity there is a fair value gap, we are going to continue reaping through it. Okay, that always happens. So in this case, look, 345, we sweep the liquidity, fair value gap just next to that liquidity. So this is a clear confirmation we will need to continue going there. But as I said, they need to control the market and they need to play games with everyone, right? So here, an ICT trader would be wrecked. Why? Because he will think we will going to rip through this. And and ironically, a retail trader would win in this movement, and he will think he is good, you know, because he made profit out of this rejection that he could call support or resistance, right? So he said, "Oh, I know too much." No, it's not that way. It's because the algo is playing games to then rip you uh, into another position where you're gonna lose, right? So so yeah, like here you have to base everything also in the Asian range, but I'm going to explain that in another moment, right? So look, look how we continue trying to rip through it. And as I said, if we have plans on going lower, we will do it until 10:20. It won't go longer than that, you know. So right now, I think could be the movement. Look, in the 5 minutes, we just broke the consolidation to the upside. You see, this is not consolidation. And every time we close in candles like this, that they start just at the end of the consolidation, it's another confirmation that we should go in the desired direction now. So if we check the 1 minute, we will see that we haven't created the fair value gap that usually is created at this time of the day to decide where we want to go. Okay, so at 10 a.m., 10, 10, we usually create a fake movement to either of the two sides to fake people, right? So right now, as I said, if we're gonna drop, we're gonna do it until 10:20. It is 10:10 already, so this candle could create a fair value gap here to the downside, could take us just down here, maybe down here, you know, probably could happen, or we could just respect this Asian range high, you see. Also remember we have this green square is the opening range, so we could just be touching this opening range and going all the way back up again. So right now we just created the fair value gap to the downside, but for me this is the fake movement of the desired side of the market, you know. So yes, you could have made some profit out of this, of course, uh, but how long will it last? You don't know that. You don't know. Well, you can know how long will it last, but you will never know how long or how short it will go. You see, so just as I said, for me this is the fake movement to the downside. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. Don't get me wrong, because uh, what we were what we were supposed to do today was taking the lower side of the market. We were supposed to do that. We were supposed to rip down here. Okay, we were supposed to do that. Okay, but as I explained already, since we had this liquidity here and we failed to apply the theory, That's the reason why we're making these movements now. Okay, so as he said, this is a really, really, how to say it, this is a really important moment in the market because we are deciding either to continue going higher or either continue our direction to the downside. Okay, why? Because if you followed ICT, you're going to know what is the market maker models, right? So in the market maker models, you will need to train your eyes to understand how and when they end, right? So this is still the market maker models, all of this. So right now we just made the curve to the upside. You see that? You see that? You see how this is explained here? And let me see if I could, what is that? One second, guys. Well, I don't know how to do it here, but oh well, whatever. Yeah, it's not a pencil here, bro. Well, whatever. So, right now we're in the curve. You see, we're in the curve of the market maker models. We're making it. So, right now for me, just as I said, look. You see what I said? We won't go lower. Okay, we won't go lower. Why? Because it's not where we should go. We have still liquidity here in the 15 minutes that is remaining. We just hit the consequent encouragement of this opening range, and what did we do after that? We touch it and we went all the way higher again. Okay, so this is the real algo here, ripping through people so they can lose money. All of this displacement to the downside, this displacement is even going to rip ICT students. Why? Because we based everything in the algo and fair value gaps. Yeah. So people who don't know these kind of tricks from the market will get uh, caught here. So people will think, okay, this fair value gap is going to be respected, and so I'm going to take another short in here, and we're going to rip down again. Which I think we could go lower, right? But they will aim for lower liquidity, right? They will aim for this liquidity here or this liquidity here. If that happens, I'm happy, because they will get some money, but I don't think it will happen. I think this fair value gap that is created here is the one that is going to be respected actually. So if it doesn't, that's okay. That's okay. Because this is not the perfect thing to be based off, but is what usually tends to happen during the market. Okay, so yeah. So this could be the fair value gap that we're going to respect. If we don't respect it, that's fine because, as I said, this downside movement could continue until 1020, 1025. Okay, so why I specified that, guys? Because yeah, like from this movement, you could have made some money, but let's be honest, if you enter here, you want take profit there. So yeah, you know what I mean. Anyways, you see how we catch this fair value gap again. You see, so that's just how it works. This is how the market is rigged. these weeks. Uh, I don't know what else to add. I'm just going to let the market run. Okay guys, so I'm just doing this video to show you what I was talking about uh, when I was explaining how to know where the market is going. Here is where I left the previous video at 10:20, and I told you guys that if we were dropping, we were going to do it until 10:20, 10:25. That was the maximum time to decide if we either went to the lower side of the market or to the upper side of the market. So here, just exactly at 10:25, let me take this out of the way. 10:25 in Nasdaq, we created a movement higher. We created here the fair value gap, and we continue ripping higher. So look, this is just what happened during this time. See how we continue going higher and higher. So all of this movement, guys, I told you it happened just because of this reason here, okay? And I told you guys that at this point here, because when I was explaining, I think it was 10 a.m., 10:15, that at this point we were either touching the consequent encouragement of the opening range, that is this uh, blue square, I don't know what color is that, but so we touched the consequent encouragement, as you can see in here, and we immediately bounced off of that. We're to the upper side of the market, crossing this liquidity here that is a fair value gap, and we continue going higher. Okay, so this movement, I told you guys this movement from here. Okay, from this lower side of the market, I told you we were going to go at least to this portion of the market and higher. I was expecting a rip through this, but I wasn't very sure about it because we had two imbalances in there, right? So one in here and another one in here. So what we did was rip through it, as you can see here. First imbalance here, and in the second one, we just start dropping from the consequent encouragement of that fair value gap. We went back to the liquidity that we took yesterday at 3:45 before the closing of the day. We grabbed some more positions in there and we ripped through it again. So I don't know if we are going to continue and make a high, all-time highs again today. I don't know if maybe we could do that, but what I know is that my analysis was delivered. I told you step by step how it worked. I told you even you hear the fake movement to the downside just to catch people with this displacement, because it's not only retail traders, also ICT traders are doing the same. They were catching here positions to the downside, and guess what happened? They got wrecked, and retail traders got wrecked as well here because maybe they thought there was resistance and they got ripped through it. Then another displacement just to fake people again and ripping through it, you see? So, yeah, guys, it is very simple. I'm going to be explaining to you day by day how this actually happens so you can learn how to spot it and you don't complicate your life because this is right in front of your nose and you don't see it. You think it is very complicated, but it is not complicated. It is really easy to spot these things. There is a lot of people doing a lot of work just to know where the market is going, and it's very simple. And I'm thankful for having people like ICT because thanks to him and thanks to some other people, other traders that have been making their research for a long time already, I've managed to get this information, to get this kind of analysis with really small, with really few tools or really few concepts to have in mind. So this just requires a little bit of a will, will to put your effort in in this. To understand, it can be as simple as you imagine it is not. Okay, and to get out of your mind that it has to be something really complicated because only traders that study for 7, 10, 11 years can make this shit. It doesn't happen that way, bro. It just you can make this. Like you can spend 1 month, 2 months, depending on how fast you learn and how fast you can develop new skills and how fast you can adapt. You know, the old concepts that you had. But if you get used to new environments really quick and you adapt easily and you have an open mind, you are going to understand these concepts because it's pretty easy. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys what happened. As I said, I explained this step by step, time by time. So I'm not making up anything here. I'm just doing this because I feel like this is my purpose in life. As I got this knowledge, I will share it as well. You know, and yeah, that's why I cover my face. Anyways, peace out, guys. I love you.